I have to die. Robin here from Pop Spectrum. Don't you just hate it when a character you love dies in your favorite TV show? Whether it be emotional or unexpected, you never wanted to say goodbye to a lot of amazing characters. So today, we're here to remember some of these most tragic moments in Pop Spectrum's Top 10 Saddest Deaths in Television. For this list, we chose the most memorable deaths that made a huge impact on their shows, in our lives, and in television history. This list includes Western television, both live action and animated, but no anime titles were included since, well, that can be an entirely different list on its own. So, let's grab our tissue boxes and start this list of tragic deaths in television history. Keep in mind, this list is full of spoilers, obviously. Number 10. Fry's nephew from Futurama. Now to get this out of the way, we decided not to include Fry's dog since Fry is reunited with him in a future episode. In The Luck of the Fryrish, Fry thinks he's been unlucky a lot since he doesn't have his lucky 7-leaf clover, so he goes out to find it. Along the way, he discovers that someone long ago stole his identity as well as his dream of flying to Mars. Fry can only think of one culprit responsible, and that is his brother, Yancey. Back when they were kids, their sibling rivalry was pretty bad, with Yancey always trying to outdo Fry at everything he did. Thinking he took his 7-leaf clover, Fry sets out to find his brother's grave, only to discover the sad truth.
Here lies Philip J. Fry, named for his uncle, to carry on his spirit.
That's right, Yancey loved his brother so much that he named his son after him. That kid was given the 7-leaf clover, and he lived his life accomplishing the dreams his uncle had. Now you don't really see this character die, but seeing Fry's dismay was truly heartbreaking. He felt such anger towards his brother only to be sad over the truth. Knowing that his brother named a son after him truly touched his heart, but knowing he was never there to see him grow really made this a heartbreaking episode of Futurama. Number 9. Robb Stark, Talisa, and Lady Catelyn from Game of Thrones. Known as the Red Wedding, this has to be the most gruesome death on this list. As the King of the North, Robb Stark, marries his beloved Queen Talisa, Lord Walder Frey acts out his vengeance upon the Stark family. Since Robb broke a marriage pact with the House Frey, Lord Walder vowed his vengeance, but knew he couldn't see it through unless he was promised protection from Lord Tywin Lannister. With this guaranteed protection, Lord Walder carried through with his vengeance by slaughtering Robb, Talisa, Catelyn, and every single bannerman. The eerie thing about this massacre is the subtle touch of the music playing in the background. The band begins to play The Rains of Castamere, a beautiful song, but it's the song of the Lannisters, enemies to the Stark family.
Robb, get up! Get up and walk out! Please! Please!
And why would I let him do that?
With how sudden the attack was and seeing Lady Catelyn's desperate attempt to save her son's life, the Red Wedding goes down as one of the saddest events to ever witness. Unless you read the books and saw this whole thing coming.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Number 8. Mike from Breaking Bad. Mike is probably one of the toughest characters on Breaking Bad. He's cunning, ruthless, and is able to carry out the dirty work when it needs to be done. But apart from being this jack of all trades, he displays kindness, wisdom, and an undying love for his granddaughter. In the last season of the show, everything was turning out for the worse, which made Mike call out Walt for his faults.
We had a good thing, you stupid son of a bitch. We had Fring. We had a lab. We had everything we needed. It all ran like clockwork. You could have shut your mouth, cooked, and made as much money as you ever needed. It was perfect. But no, you just had to blow it up. You and your pride and your ego. You just had to be the man. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now.
This fit of rage really made Walt so mad that he shoots him right then and there. Regretfully, Walt then realizes that he could have gotten the information he needed from someone else. So he sheepishly apologizes to Mike, all too late. Well, being the true badass he is, Mike responds to Walt's apology with,
Shut the fuck up. Let me die in peace.
For Mike to keep his stature, even in death, is unbelievable. But all of us watching the show really didn't want to see him go. Yes, he's done a lot of dirty work, but when you see his gentle nature and the love he had for his granddaughter, we all started to cry for this tough, yet gentle, grandpa.
I give up, baby. You're too good.
Number 7. Bobby Singer from Supernatural. Now, watching an amazing character die is hard enough, but when you have to watch them die 3 times? Now that's a bit too much. Throughout Supernatural, we grew to love Bobby Singer as he became a second father to Sam and Dean. Even if they did act like idiots, Bobby did whatever he could to get his boys out of trouble. While helping Sam and Dean hunt down a creature, Bobby goes out on his own, only to be captured and meet face-to-face with Richard Roman, leader of the Hungry Leviathans. The boys go to rescue him, but as he gets into the van, he is suddenly shot in the head by Richard. This results in Bobby going into a coma and left to face his worst memories in order to get out. After he confronts them, he wakes up from his coma to give Sam and Dean a message. He gives them the coordinates to Richard's research lab, and with his dying words, he says,
Idiots.
As Bobby passes on, he is given the choice to either go to heaven or stay as a spirit. He chooses to stay as a spirit connected to his flask in order to help the boys hunt down Richard. As he gets strong enough to have the boys see him, Sam and Dean grow worried over the situation. Although they were happy to see their dear friend, they know that he wouldn't be the same for too long. With that, Bobby asks the boys to burn the flask and let his spirit go. Just as we thought it was it for him, it turns out that the Reaper AJ took Bobby's soul straight into hell under Crowley's orders. Sam goes into hell to rescue his friend, only to find him tortured. He does whatever he can to convince Bobby that he needs to go to heaven, and that he has no ties to the earth anymore. With that, and some divine intervention, Bobby Singer's soul was rescued, and he was finally able to go into heaven. What made this death stand out was how long it took for this character to rest in peace. For a character like Bobby, it wouldn't be easy since he loved his boys more than anything. But even after he intentionally passes on after his flask was burned, he is dragged into hell for a whole year. Typical! While it took a while to watch him go, we were all sad, yet happy to see Bobby Singer finally rest in peace.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Number 6. Ben Sullivan from Scrubs. Now, Scrubs has had its fair share of sad departures. Out of all the great characters we've lost throughout the show, the most heartbreaking we have ever witnessed was Ben. As Ben goes to the hospital to treat his injury, Dr. Cox and JD sadly discover that he has leukemia. Now, hearing upsetting news like this would upset anybody, right? Not with Ben. Shortly after hearing the news of his illness, he was later on found in the pediatric ward playing with the children. To all of his friends, Ben was an all-around likable guy. But to the bitter and mostly sarcastic Cox, Ben was like a brother he never had. These two were such great friends, it made the whole situation for Cox unbearable to watch Ben go through chemotherapy. Throughout the show, we see Ben here and there hanging out with Cox. We think nothing of it as these two are inseparable best friends. But then, this scene comes up that reveals the sad truth.
Hey, where's your camera? Aren't you gonna take some pictures?
Pictures of what?
You know, crying babies covered in chocolate, people singing happy birthday to my son who've never even met him before, you know, the whole routine.
Where do you think we are?
Your name is the splinter inside me while I wait.
At that moment, we learn the sad truth that Ben was dead. Not only was that scene heartbreaking to witness, but to see a strong character like Cox break down into tears really made a lot of people cry. Ben was a cheerful soul and an amazing best friend. With the sudden revelation of his death and Cox breaking down, this is by far the saddest death from Scrubs. Number 5. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake from MASH. With the exception of Hawkeye losing his old friend, the first 3 seasons of MASH were basically a comedy. We got to know each of the characters as we watched them through their crazy antics and with each patient they treated in surgery. With the military system, we were open to the possibility of seeing one of these characters actually go home after they served their duty. Sure enough, the first doctor from the cast to receive enough points and earn his discharge was their commanding officer, Henry Blake.
You're going home.
I'm going home?
You got all your points. They're discharging you.
Discharged?
Tokyo, San Francisco, then home.
I'm going home. I'm discharged. I'm going home. Henry, that's terrific.
Henry, congratulations. That's terrific.
As sad as it was to see Henry leave, we were all celebrating with the characters as they were excited to see their dear friend leave from the war. That is until this happened.
I have a message. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors.
In that sudden moment, harsh, cruel reality slapped us in the faces. Henry Blake never made it home alive. The amazing thing about this scene is that no one saw it coming. Not the audience, not the crew members, not even the actors. Only some of the writers knew right as they were filming the scene. All they did was give Gary Berghoff a message to read and told the camera crew to record everyone's reaction. Everything that you're seeing in this scene is pure, raw emotion over losing their beloved commanding officer. Number 4. Charlie from Lost. Through this series, you really get to know Charlie a lot, from his history as a semi-famous musician to his drug addiction. After the crash on the island, Charlie takes a liking to a girl named Claire, and they eventually become a couple. After season 1, a character called Desmond is introduced, and after a certain accident, he can have premonitions of future events. Some of these visions, however, are of Charlie dying, but he is able to take action and save Charlie every time. Try as he might, however, something new always happens that ends up endangering Charlie's life. The last premonition he receives shows a terrible outcome. If Charlie survives this time, Claire and everyone else on the island wouldn't be rescued. When Desmond informs him of this terrible outcome, Charlie accepts his fate and decides to write a list of the top 5 greatest moments of his life. His number 1 choice was meeting Claire. What made this death aggravating was knowing he could have survived. He had a chance to live, but he knew the cost and decided to sacrifice himself to save everyone. And even before his fate was sealed, Charlie delivers an important message to Desmond, notifying him that the people from the rescue boat are not who they think they are. Number 3. Fred from Angel. The golden rule everyone knows from a Joss Whedon show is that no couple is ever safe. Just when we were all happy to see Fred and Wesley become a couple, the Whedon curse had to break our hearts. When Angel's gang takes over Wolfram Hart, Fred examined a sarcophagus that was brought to her through customs. During her examination, she accidentally inhaled an essence that was slowly and painfully taking over her body. The essence she breathed in was actually the essence of a pure-blood demon by the name of Illyria. And if the team couldn't find a cure for her, Fred's soul would perish, and her body would then be possessed. All of us sat in our seats hoping Fred would survive, and she could live happily ever after with Wesley. But then we remembered this was written by Joss Whedon, so we all had to face the fact. Fred's fate was sealed, as she laid in her lover's arms and said her tearful final words.
To talk to my parents. They have to know I wasn't scared. That it was quick. That I wasn't scared. Oh, God.
You have to fight. You don't have to talk. Just concentrate on fighting. Just hold on.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Please. Wesley. Why can't I stay?
Number 2. Dan Connor from Roseanne. So, it's the final episode and we're all sitting around the dining room table with our favorite blue-collar family. Everyone is smiling, their lives are perfect, and life couldn't get any better for our family.
I lost Dan last year when he had his heart attack.
Oh! Well, it turns out the last season of the show was all in Roseanne's head, and Dan actually didn't survive the heart failure he suffered in the previous season. Well, no one saw that coming. Audiences from all around literally had to sit at their TVs wondering what just happened. Dan can't be dead. This is Dan we're talking about. We all saw him survive. He's gotta be alive, right? Their lives were getting better and everyone was so happy. To this day, we are all still baffled over what just happened. Even with Roseanne explaining everything, we still can't get over this sad, out-of-nowhere death.
My writing's really what got me through the last year after Dan died. I mean, at first I felt so betrayed, as if he had left me for another woman. When you're a blue-collar woman and your husband dies, it takes away your whole sense of security.
Before we reveal our top pick, let's show some honorable mentions.
He's gone, Liz. He's gone. No, no.
No! No! No!
My keys. Where are my keys? Mom, oh my God. Mom?
Sure do miss that laugh. You know, I'm gonna miss you, Mr. Looper.
Mom? What are you doing?
Number 1. Joyce Summers from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Mom?
The one crucial element behind this sad death was how the whole episode was done. No supernatural baddies, no magic, nothing. Not even background music. This episode had to be the hardest thing we ever had to watch, because for the first time in this show, everything felt real. Buffy comes home to see her mom, only to notice her not moving on the couch. In sheer panic, Buffy rushes to her side, screaming for her to wake up. She calls 911 and tries her very best to revive her, but nothing works. The paramedics arrive and they make their attempt to save her. At this point, Buffy is in such deep denial that we see a happy outcome of Joyce waking up and thanking Buffy from her hospital bed. A curveball scene that gave us all a sigh of relief, until reality brought us back and announced Joyce Summers had passed away. As I said before, everything about this episode hit really hard to the viewers, since it all felt real. We were all panicking because we felt we were losing our own mother. If the lack of music and magic didn't dose up the pain, Buffy crying out to her really made us cry. This isn't just a show losing a character, and Buffy wasn't acting like her usual Slayer badass persona. This is a harsh, deep in reality death, because in this scene, we are watching a young girl losing her precious mother. Sarah Michelle Gellar gives her all in this performance. The subtle detail of her crying.
Mom, 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 Mom!
And even correcting the paramedics when they called her mom the body.
The body is cold? No, my mom. Should I make her warm?
What more can I say? With Sarah's performance and how real the scene felt, the death of Joyce Summers is the saddest death in television.
We're not supposed to move the body!
What do you think of our list? Leave us a comment down below and share with us your choice of the saddest death in television. This is Robin from Pop Spectrum. Thanks for watching.